Welcome back to Sinister Customs, and today we're going to be doing part 2 of the Bronco giveaway build and actually installing some parts like the Mofo B.A.M motor and just going over the gearing, the different motor mounts, the ESC, and possibly testing it out with some tires. So let's get into the different mounts and gearing that this thing can do. Alright, so let's take a quick look at that B.A.M motor and some of the gearing options you can use with it. So this is the brand new, again focus, Mofo B.A.M. This is the 1900 kV. He also has a 4100 kV running the, I believe that's the 23 tooth pinion gear. So this would be the gear for the race setup that you would run with the tiny spur gear there. And that will come with this mount here. This mount will only run the tiny spur gear and the bigger pinion gear. This mount, however, is for your stock size spur gear and smaller pinion. Of course, I believe you can run up to like a 23 tooth pinion gear in that, but yeah, if you go on Mofo RC, there's a ton of different gear setups there. I only have a small selection here. This is the 16 tooth mod 3, so that would go with your stock gear, or the small spur gear is also a mod 3. This, however, is a mod 5, so you can see the difference in your tooth depth. There's a lot deeper tooth there for a lot better of a bite, so you're less likely to strip those gears out. However, with as small as these are, even with a mod 3, as long as you're going to a stainless, you should be good. Or steel, I guess, not just necessarily stainless, just steel in general. But yeah, and then this motor is a 2mm shaft, to where it is like the FuriTech Komodo. I don't know the mini Komodo, it might be a 2mm shaft, but the actual bigger Komodo, like that one there, that is a 3mm shaft. So that right there is kind of your difference in shaft size. But that is where I got that gear. It came from the FuriTech setup for the Komodo. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all. Something else I did notice that I wanted to go over with the installation of the Mofo B.A.M motor and the small spur gear. I don't think you'll have this issue with the bigger spur gear, but the small one is right where the teeth are, is right where your mounting screws go. So it will rub on that pretty bad. Couple solutions. As you can see, the one I did was just shimmed it out a little bit. Just had a little brass shim in there. Space it out away. Another thing you can do is get some lower profile screws to go in there. Some Phillips heads or something. But yeah, that's one thing to look out for. And the other thing is, if you get the lower profile screws, I don't think you'll have this issue. But with shimming it out, of course, it brings your nut out a little bit. And the way the motor sits, I don't know if you can see on this one, the one that's in the monster truck, which is the 4100 kV, that one you can definitely see, but it rubs just ever so slightly if you don't get it clearance just right, just on the motor case right there. And so it can back that nut off. So the best solution would just be to get some screws that are more flush mounted. But I worked with what I had, so that's what I got. Yeah, so we will get it in there with the race setup and the 1900 kV. So this is going to be a extremely tall gear for a crawler. It should go pretty quick, and let's get it in and see what it does. Okay, so I think you can see right there just how close, how tight of a tolerance that is. So when you adjust it, around, you adjust it here, you're going to want to make sure it's twisted as far that way as possible. So you're going to want to make sure that one is as far up as possible, and that one is as far down as possible. Mostly that one being as far down. Once you've done that, so I normally get this one down, give it a little snug. Then once you've done that, you can move this one up to your desired preference of tightness to the gear. But always be sure to leave a little slack in there because you don't want it too tight. Get it too tight, you're definitely going to burn up your motor. So let's get that adjusted and tightened down. And it's always a good idea to spin things. Make sure everything's clearing. Okay. Another few things to note is that when you are actually installing your motor, it is a good idea to put a dab of blue Loctite on your screws going in. It's also probably a good idea to use some type of washer behind those. But as for right now with this setup, I believe the giveaway build is going to get that setup right there. I think that's going to be the optimum setup for crawling and not being too fast to flip it over on itself, which we don't want to do because this thing is going to be beautiful. So for right now, we're just going to test it with this one, test this motor out, see how it does with this setup. And with some of the other upgrades I have coming, I'm just going to have to end up taking it back off eventually anyway. So when I take it back off, we will throw that one in it. But for now, let's get this motor in there and see how it does out on the course. Okay, so ran into our first little dilemma with that you're going to run into with any forward-facing motor. You do not have room for your factory ESC spot. It takes all that up, which is not really a big problem. You could find somewhere else to mount that. The big thing is your body mount. Finding a way to mount your body mount, finding a way to mount your shocks. That's fine. I'm not going to cut this one up. I'm going to include all the factory parts that I take off with this in the giveaway. So any factory part, you can take this thing all the way back apart, put all the factory stuff back in it, and use the other parts for whatever. But that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have all the factory parts that came off this back in the box and given away. So that ESC, with this giveaway, you're getting two. You're getting the V1 ESC that's going to be running the Fury Tech, and the V2 ESC as well that came factory with it. And so here's another ESC mount that I had laying around. Some of them are different compared to Deadbolt's, Jeep, all that kind of stuff. But as you can see, this one is the same. The shock mounting point is in front of the body mount, not behind, like, let's say that one there. So you can, let's get it where you can kind of see it a little better maybe. There. Kind of see how they're a little different. The shock mount, I'll get it in the light better. There we go. The shock mounts are different. So one's in front of the body post, the other one is behind the body post. So on the Bronco, it is in front of the body post. So we'll get to cutting this one up. Oops. Getting to cutting that one up and fitting around that motor. And I think we have clearance, Clarence. All right, now that we got the motor fitted in there, let's find a place for the ESC and the receiver. So we'll be running the FuryTech Lizard Pro ESC, which I believe should mount pretty good right there. So we're gonna try to get him right there somewhere. And we'll be running the V1 ESC receiver combo from one of the older scx24s. The reason we are running the V1 is the V2 does not support an aftermarket ESC, so you cannot use it as a receiver only. However, the V1 you can. In fact, the ESC in this ESC receiver combo is fried, so I'm just going to be using it as a receiver only to run that ESC. So if you didn't know that, now you do. If you have a fried ESC receiver that is the V1, you can still run an aftermarket ESC off it and use it as just a receiver. So let's find a place for it now. This probably has to be the funnest part about doing a brushless setup. Where does it all fit? And why don't you stick? Well, let's try cleaning it. That's better. And don't worry, the final build will be a lot cleaner than this. But it's always a good idea to test your build out before cleaning everything up, so you don't have to take it right back apart. And a cool thing about the B.A.M motor is it plugs directly in to a FuryTech ESC. Gotta make sure none of the wires get into that beautiful outrunner. And bam! Isn't it a thing of beauty? So I've got everything in here. It's all kind of tidied up a little bit anyway. Like I said, I'm gonna end up taking all this back apart to do the next upgrade that I believe is in the mail right now. Putting the new Pyraxes on to go test out here in just a bit, and we'll go see how it does on the course. Alright, let's get this crawl going. I'm excited to see how this motor does in a mostly stock rig. You might notice the body is not sitting flush to the bumper because the ESC was hitting the underside, but all that's going to be changed in the final product. So one of my favorite things about this motor, ESC, and gear combo is the ability to still slow crawl, but have the wheel speed to do this. Okay, let's get out of here. And speaking of slow crawl, just look at that thing creep. And again, remember, this thing has a very tall gear in it, and it's still able to do that. Another thing I love is its ability to go in and out of the FOC that the FuryTech offers very easily. If you notice, I am going in and out of the FOC right now, and granted, on heavier rigs with higher gear, like this one's got higher gear, but if it weighed more, if you had a lot of brass on it, that would be more difficult. It would struggle a little bit more going in and out of the FOC. But as of right now, it does great. And if you put the lower gears in it, this thing would have no problem whatsoever. I'm actually really surprised it is not having a problem. And the reverse capabilities, I mean, just the outright control this motor gives you in crawling is outstanding. I mean, look at that. Just slow, goes right back. And you'll notice here in a second the power it has even in reverse to move that rock. But now we all know it wouldn't be a sinister build if it didn't have a little speed. And this is only on 2S. Just wait, we'll put it on 3. Got a little 200 mAh 15C 3S battery. Let's try it out. And this is only the 1900 kV. Imagine what the 4100 kV is like. Absolutely insane in the monster truck. I'll get some videos up of it soon. I've been testing both of them out for a little over a week now, and gotta say they are absolutely amazing. If you don't have one on order, you better get it soon, because I'm sure they'll go fast. And also be sure to go check out Mofo's giveaway. They've got a full brass Bronco they're giving away. And I'll leave links for that in the description. And be sure to give Nick a big thank you for being a part of this giveaway. And don't forget to share this giveaway, because the bigger this giveaway gets, the more partners we can get, and the better the build gets. Because I know there are plenty of other companies out there, just like Mofo, Hooker's Garage, and myself, that love to give back to this community. So like, share, and subscribe, and let's blow this thing up. And get one of you an absolutely amazing Bronco. And again, a big thank you to Nick at Mofo RC and Scott at Hooker's Garage, because without them, this would just be another regular Bronco giveaway. So go show them some love, and have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of this slow crawl. Don't worry, I do it in reverse too.